At the minute, it doesn't look like there's going to be tariffs on trade in horses between the European Union and the UK. Well, we're currently in the middle of a UK election process, but the UK government and the European Union have agreed a withdrawal agreement, and that has to be ratified by the European Union and by the UK. And the UK process is wrapped up in what's called the Withdrawal Agreement Bill, and that got through two stages, two readings in the House of Parliament in London. But we're now in an election cycle. We don't know what the outcome of that election will be, but most likely, in my opinion, we will have a balance of power in the next Parliament that will not be in favour of the UK crashing out on no deal terms, so that it seems likely that a withdrawal agreement bill will probably get agreed and the UK will leave, at which point the UK enters into the transition period that's in the withdrawal agreement with the European Union. And that transition period is designed to create the space for the UK and the European Union to talk about what they want to be doing with one another into the future. The only problem really for agriculture at the moment is that that process is supposed to end by the end of next year, with the possibility of an extension for 1 or 2 years if the UK wants it, but the UK said it doesn't. So we've got 11 months to get the future relationship done, and most people think that that's not long enough. And if we get to the end of next year, end of 2020, and we haven't got a deal done, and the UK doesn't want to do a deal, then unfortunately we're looking again at effectively a no-deal scenario, and we know that that scenario will be very bad for Irish agriculture. Now, why it will be bad for Irish agriculture really is a function of what share of our exports goes to the UK market, to what extent the UK market will be less valuable in the future if the UK decides to lower its tariff barriers to places like Brazil or Australia or Canada, and you know, to what extent are farmers in Ireland dependent on direct payments from the Common Agricultural Policy, because they probably will be negatively affected by the UK leaving the European Union, because the UK is one of those net contributors to the UK budget, to the European Union budget, and when they leave, the pot of money will by construction get smaller. At the minute, it doesn't look like there's going to be tariffs on trade in horses between the European Union and the UK. But if the UK leaves without a deep and comprehensive agreement, there will be an awful lot more veterinary checks, health certificates that will be required to move horses back and forth across that border, whether for sale, for an event. So, you know, people who are involved in the equine business, unfortunately, just like people involved in the agribusiness and food industry as general, are going to have a lot more costs of doing business that heretofore they haven't had because of Brexit.